So for anyone who's been watching this channel for years, you guys would notice the huge transformation I've made on YouTube. I started off as a crazy console fanboy that was just shitting on PC gaming any chance I could get, saying how PC is the worst gaming platform of all time. Everyone that plays on PC is a nerd and is a loser. Like, I would just throw all these insults at PC gamers, and I keep talking about how console gaming is the greatest thing to ever happen to humanity. Like, I was crazy obsessed with console gaming, and I was also even more obsessed with trashing people who played on PC. Now, it's very different. I wouldn't want to say that's the opposite, because I don't go out of my way to trash people and insult people for playing on whatever platform they play on. Like, you never hear me say console gamers are fucking idiots. I do say that the console gaming experience in 2020 is awful and nobody should even try using it, but I think that's a lot different from the behavior that I exhibited 3 to 4 years ago, where no, if someone was playing on a platform that I didn't like, whether it be PC or a Nintendo console, remember I was always shitting on Nintendo too, I would like just throw all the insults I could at people who played on those platforms, and it was kind of a shitty thing to do. It was kind of immature, and it didn't make any sense. It was pretty fucking dumb. So I don't think that I've just flipped, that I've become the opposite version of myself, that I haven't really changed. It's just what I'm talking about that has changed. Like, instead of being a crazy console fanboy, I'm a crazy PC fanboy. But that's the thing that I kind of want to touch upon in this video, is that, I mean, when you compare a console fanboy to a PC fanboy, I feel like there's a huge difference, because in the general sense, a fanboy is someone who is obsessive over any particular thing, whether it be, you know, you have the iPhone fanboys, the Apple fanboys, you have people who are fanboys over like a particular TV show, like Breaking Bad fanboys, who think that Breaking Bad is the greatest thing of all time and any other show is not nearly as good. But there's also like different tier of fanboy. There are fanboys who are just obsessed with the thing that they're obsessed about, and while they have a deep obsession or passion for a particular thing, they don't go out of their way to trash and insult people that may have different preferences, right? So there are different levels of fanboys. There are fanboys that just love what they love, and there are also fanboys that take it a little bit too far, like I did with console gaming a few years ago. So that's one thing that's important to point out. But the other thing about being a PC fanboy versus a console fanboy, I feel like there's a huge difference, especially with what we see on the internet. We have guys like JTech TV, you have Crap Gamer, who's actually, he used to be like the biggest Xbox fanboy, now he's a PlayStation fanboy, which I find hilarious. And of course on the Xbox side you have Colt Eastwood, who's the big Xbox fanboy on the internet, who thinks that the Xbox is the greatest thing ever and that the PlayStation is inferior to the Xbox. And that's the other thing. Like, there are different ways of being a fanboy. Like, J-Tech and Colt Eastwood are both radical fanboys, but I feel like J-Tech is more obvious in the way that he delivers the things that he says. Like, he's like, oh yeah, fuck these port-begging bitches. You know, he's really, like, he's a very aggressive person. But then Colt Eastwood, even though like he's just as obsessed with Xbox as J-Tech is with PlayStation, he plays it a little bit differently. He tries to act like a professional YouTuber that actually has integrity, and he puts a whole lot of production value into his videos. Like, if you go on Colt Eastwood's YouTube channel for the first time, you think, wow, this guy actually, he seems legit. He seems like the real deal. But when you actually dig into the things that he says, he makes really, he tries to be a little bit more subtle about the fact that he is an Xbox fanboy. But if you actually listen to what he says, I mean, this guy is crazy. Like, he just thinks that Xbox is the greatest thing ever, and all the other platforms, they don't even come close to the greatness of Xbox. And this guy pretty much wants to suck Phil Spencer's cock, you could tell. But with JTech TV, it's a lot more obvious. If you go on his channel, I mean, you can see the title of his videos talking about Xbox being pathetic and shit like that. Like, he is very blatant about how much he loves PlayStation and how awful the other platforms are in his view. And I was a weird one, because I was both a PlayStation and an Xbox fanboy. I had my PS4 and my Xbox One, and I was talking about how console gaming in general is superior to PC, and that PC gaming is awful. But like I said earlier, and those who were around back then would remember, I went out of my way to just take a shit on people who had different gaming preferences than I did, who played on different platforms than I did. I went hard on PC gamers. I was talking mad shit. I was saying that PC gamers were losers, they were nerds, that they were obese, like they were weighed like 300 pounds, all the PC gamers out there. They were just a bunch of social rejects that never left their houses. But now, in recent years, I'm making videos talking about PC gaming being better than consoles, but the difference is that I actually use facts to back up what I say. Because back then, with console gaming, I was saying, oh, console gaming is better because of controllers, even though you can use controllers on PC. What else did I say? I said consoles were more affordable than PC, which was a lie, because you got the paid online and all that other bullshit. It adds up to the point where console gaming, even though it's a lower cost up front, you spend a lot more money with your console than a gaming PC in the long term. And it's funny, I made so many videos debunking the shit that I used to say back in the day, because it's factual that PC gaming just has so much more benefits than consoles. It's objectively the superior platform, which I find hilarious, because a few years ago I would be so angry when anyone would say that PC gaming is objectively better. I'd call them fanboys, I'd call them nerds, I'd call them elitists. Well, now I've become what I hate. And I don't know, am I the same version of what I used to be 3 to 4 years ago? I feel like I'm not, because even though, like, I guess I am, you could call me a PC fanboy. I guess that would be fair to label me as such, because I do make a lot of videos talking about how console gaming is inferior to PC, and I do spend a good amount of time arguing about why PC is better than console. So okay, I'm a PC fanboy. I'll say I am. But do I say that, oh, if you're a console gamer, you're a piece of shit, you're a nerd, you're a loser? Like, do I say the same shit that I said back then when I called myself the Console King? Yeah, that was my name. So yeah, I was a little bit too obsessed, and I was a little bit too fanatical about console gaming being better than PC, which it turns out not to be true. But I don't think that I've become the same version of myself, because like I said, I don't like try to trash people. I just say, hey, I like PC gaming better than console. I think PC gaming is better, but I also have facts to back it up. With console gaming, you don't really have those facts. You have what? Convenience? Oh, console gaming is more convenient than PC, although the whole plug-and-play thing that we had back then, where you put the disc in and you're ready to go, that's not a thing anymore on consoles. So maybe you can try to argue that consoles, you know, right out of the box, you can play it, and you could do this, but you still have to pay an online subscription that you don't have to pay for on PC. There's still so many things that you're limited, that you're restricted from doing on a console that you can do on a PC. So when you add up all the objective benefits of PC gaming, which is numerous, there's so many benefits that PC has over console that are just objective. Being able to install mods, having different choices in where to buy games from. Like, if you have a PC, you can buy games from Steam, Epic, GOG, and all these other platforms. But on console, if you have a PlayStation, you can only buy games on the PlayStation Store or the used games market. But still, if you add up all the objective benefits of the console and PC, there are a lot more on PC than console that it's not even close. And then there's subjective shit like, you know, oh, console games are better than PC games. That, honestly, like, you can't even say anything about that, but I could also say that PC gaming, there are more games to choose from. I think I actually argued that, like, 2 videos ago. I kind of, like, brought that up a little bit. So, from an objective standpoint, you can't really make an argument that console gaming is better than PC. And over the years, as I got older, as I got through college, I appreciated facts more than anecdotal shit, because I like facts. I like knowing what the truth is, and the truth is that PC gaming is a better platform than console, because there's just so much more shit that you can do on a PC compared to a console. And the other big difference, I mean, I was kind of like, even back then, when I was calling myself the Console King, I was obsessed with console gaming, but not one particular type of console. Like, most of the console fanboys you see on the internet, they were obsessed with Sony as a corporation. They were doing free PR for Sony. Like, JTech TV would always defend everything that Sony did. Same thing with Crap Gamer back in the day. He would always defend what the shit that Microsoft was doing, but eventually he switched to Sony. So you have console fanboys, but most of them are obsessed about one corporation, and they have loyalty to a company, to a brand. Even back then, I wasn't that crazy, because that's pretty pathetic, just being obsessed over a company that does nothing for you. Do they pay you? Do they pay you a salary to do PR for them? No. You're just some weirdo on the internet that likes to defend everything a corporation does because you feel like you're loyal to them for whatever reason, even though they've done nothing for you. Like, they're a corporation, they try to make money. Like, why do you feel like you're loyal to them? I don't understand that. The thing about being a PC fanboy, though, that's different, is that you're not loyal to a corporation, necessarily, because PC is just a huge spectrum that no one corporation controls the PC market as a whole, right? Like, no one company controls PC gaming, even Valve. You know, people love Steam, but they also have reasons why they love Steam. Like, when people say, oh, why PlayStation is better, oh, you can play with your friends and you can do all this shit, like, yeah, you could also do that on PC. So, like, everything they say about why they love PlayStation so much or why they love Xbox so much, you can also do that on PC. Like, when they're talking about online gaming, oh, all my friends play on PlayStation, all my friends are on Xbox. But I mean these days you got cross-platform, so that's kind of like a non-issue at this point. Like, people say, oh, all my friends are on Xbox, so I have no choice but to buy an Xbox, even though it's a shitty console. I don't know. I think that there's a huge difference, even like when you take the most rabid PC fanboy versus the craziest console fanboy on the internet. PC fanboys, they have more facts and logic on their side than console fanboys. It's just the truth. I mean, you can say that being a rabid fanboy of anything is bad, and I don't consider myself to be rabid, even though I do say things like console gaming is shit and you should never buy a console. I'm never gonna buy a console ever again because it's just a ripoff. But I also have justifications for that. I'm not be like, oh, like what I was back then. PC gaming sucks because consoles are easier and they're better, and like just saying stupid shit that didn't make any sense, because it doesn't. So I don't know. I like to think that it's different when we're talking about the average console fanboy versus the average PC fanboy. I think one's a bit worse than the other. I think in majority of cases the console fanboy is always worse than the PC fanboy, because the console fanboy, it's just out of blind loyalty. They grew up with consoles, they love Sony, they love Microsoft, they love Nintendo, and they just don't think that any other platform is worth giving a try, because they have that obsession, they have that loyalty to one particular brand, to one particular corporation. While PC fanboys will tell you why they love their PC so much, and there's a lot more logic behind it, from the freedom of choice, being able to choose what types of games you can play on PC. Any game can be on PC. You don't have to get approval from one company that controls the entire ecosystem like on consoles. So, you know, that's one thing. Being able to install mods, being able to do all these different things, customizing your build, full backwards compatibility, because there's no such thing as a generation of PC. Like, you do have to upgrade your PC every so often, but you're not locked away from playing a huge library of games that you own because the new console isn't backwards compatible. So that I can go on and on and on. This will be a 50-minute video if I just want to go over all the benefits that PC has over console. But you get my drift. You get the point I'm trying to make. That PC fanboys, you can argue that some of them can kind of be dicks. They can kind of be douchey about how much they love their PC. Say, oh, look at how much money I've spent on my PC. I spent $3,000. Ha ha ha, you peasants, you can't spend $3,000 because you're poor. Like, yeah, those people are dicks and they're assholes, but they're assholes in every community that you can possibly think of. I just feel like there are more of them on console, and when you do have PC gamers that are acting like fanboys and talking about how PC gaming is so much better than consoles, well, they actually have facts to back it up, when console gamers simply do not, when they try to argue that consoles are better than PC. So I would rather be a PC fanboy than a console fanboy, because they're not the same. One is obviously much worse than the other, and I guess you could say that I could be obnoxious with the videos that I make trashing console gaming, but I challenge you to find anything I say in those videos that's actually false or untrue. While if you look at a Console Fanboys video, it's just filled with lies and nonsense. So I think I've actually changed and evolved in a positive way over the years. I haven't just regressed to what I was 3 to 4 years ago, but just an opposite version of the same thing. No, I think I've actually changed a lot in a positive way, even if you can define me as a PC fanboy rather than the console fanboy, the kind of behavior that I engage in now. Notice that I'm not like crazy about drama like I used to be back then. I used to make videos on all these YouTubers and shit on them and try to trash talk them, always trying to start drama. When's the last time I've actually engaged in drama, like, on this channel? It's been years. It's been years since I've done anything like YouTube drama. I hate that shit. I don't attack people, like the actual person that plays on a console. I just try to convince them that, no, like, console gaming is not good. Like, you should definitely reconsider your choice. But I'm not like, oh, you're a console fanboy, go fuck yourself, you're a piece of shit, you're an awful person. Because that's the type of inflammatory shit that I said years ago when I was a console fanboy towards the PC. So, I mean, I guess there are some PC fanboys that engage in that type of awful behavior, but you can easily tell, like, okay, that's just an awful person. That's nothing to do with, oh, they're a PC gamer, so they're terrible. It's just, no, they're a terrible person, and they're awful, so they can go fuck themselves. In general, I think it's a lot better to be a PC fanboy than a console fanboy, because at least the facts are on your side.